I never thought my hair would define me. But the day those girls held me down and shaved it all off, something inside me broke. Terror. What they didn't know was that while they were taking my hair, I held something much more valuable in my hands. The deed to their family's livelihood. 1. If you've ever been bullied for being different, hit that subscribe button and share your story in the comments below. You're not alone in this. My name is Chloe Miller, and I'm a junior at Westfield High in rural Iowa. I've lived on the same 500-acre farm my whole life, helping my grandpa with the animals and crops before and after school. Most days I wear worn-out jeans, flannel shirts, and boots caked with mud. Not exactly the fashion statement at a school where designer brands and TikTok trends reign supreme. 0.5. I've always been quiet, preferring the company of our horses and chickens to the chaos of high school hallways. My family's farm has been in our name for 5 generations. What most people in town don't know is that we don't just work our land. We own several other farms in the area that we lease to families who can't afford their own property. My grandpa always taught me that with great land comes great responsibility, and we've always been fair landlords, charging below market rates to help families stay on their farms. The bullying started freshman year when I transferred to public school after being homeschooled. The popular crowd, led by Brittany Taylor, captain of the cheerleading squad, took an immediate dislike to me. Brittany's family works one of our farms, and they've always struggled financially, which might explain why she's so desperate to appear wealthy at school. "Look at farm girl," Brittany sneered one day in the cafeteria, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Did you milk the cows this morning or just roll around in the hay with them?" Her friends, Madison, Kayla, and Taylor, all laughed like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. I just kept my head down and kept eating my lunch, which I'd packed in a reused plastic bag, another point of ridicule for them. "Seriously, Chloe," Madison chimed in, "you could at least try to fit in. Those boots are like a decade old." I didn't respond. What could I say? That my grandpa had given me these boots on my 12th birthday and they were the most comfortable things I'd ever owned? That they represented something real and meaningful, unlike the fast fashion sneakers they'd probably forget about next week? The verbal taunts continued for months. They called me farm girl, hayseed, milkmaid, and other creative names. They'd make loud mooing sounds when I walked by or pretend to shoo away imaginary flies. I tried to ignore it, focusing on my studies and farm work. Then came the incident with my FFA jacket. For those who don't know, FFA stands for Future Farmers of America, and it's a big deal in agricultural communities like ours. I'd earned that jacket through years of hard work in 4-H and FFA competitions, and I was proud to wear it. One day, Brittany accidentally spilled her Starbucks latte all over it in the hallway. "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry," she said with zero sincerity. "I guess that's what happens when you wear something so tacky to school." I was devastated. That jacket meant everything to me, and now it was stained with brown liquid that smelled like vanilla and pretentiousness. 1. When I got home, I cried for the first time since the bullying started. My grandpa found me in the barn trying to scrub the stain out. "Chloe, what's wrong?" he asked, his weathered face full of concern. I told him everything. The names, the mocking, the ruined jacket. He listened patiently, then put his arm around my shoulders. "Chloe, remember what I always say," he said softly. "The soil doesn't care what people think of it. It just keeps growing things. Be like the soil." I nodded, not fully understanding but feeling comforted nonetheless. The next day at school, something unexpected happened. Brittany approached me at my locker. "Hey Chloe," she said, almost sounding genuine. "I feel really bad about your jacket. Let me pay to have it cleaned." I was suspicious, but I agreed. For the next few weeks, Brittany and her friends were almost nice to me. They stopped the name-calling, and Brittany even sat with me at lunch a few times asking about life on the farm. 05. I thought maybe she'd had a change of heart. I should have known better. I thought it was over. But I was wrong. If this hits home, subscribe. The comeback is epic. Our school's annual fall festival was coming up, and I was entered in the livestock showing competition with my prized pig, Wilbur. The day before the festival, Brittany invited me to a pre-festival party at her house. "We really want to support you at the competition tomorrow," she said with a smile that seemed almost real. "We'll make posters and everything." Against my better judgment, I agreed to go. When I arrived, the house was empty except for Brittany and her friends. "Where is everyone?" I asked nervously. "Oh, they're running late," Brittany said smoothly. "Let's do your hair while we wait. It'll look so cute for the competition tomorrow." Before I could protest, they had me sitting in a chair in Brittany's bedroom. Madison started brushing my long brown hair, which I'd been growing out for years. "You have such pretty hair, Chloe," Taylor said, holding up a pair of scissors. "It would look amazing with some layers." I froze. "I don't want my hair cut," I said firmly, starting to stand up. But Kayla and Brittany pushed me back into the chair. "Oh, come on," Brittany laughed. "Don't be such a baby. It's just hair." The next few minutes were a blur of struggling, holding me down, and the terrifying buzz of clippers. When they finally let me go, I ran to the mirror and gasped. My beautiful long hair was gone, replaced by a choppy, uneven mess. They hadn't just cut it. They'd shaved patches of it to the scalp. Tears streamed down my face as I ran out of the house and all the way home, not stopping until I collapsed in my grandpa's arms. When I told him what happened, his face hardened with an anger I'd never seen before. "Chloe, get in the truck," he said, his voice tight. "We're going to the Taylors." I was confused, but I did as he said. When we arrived at Brittany's house, her father came to the door looking surprised to see us. "Frank, Chloe," he said nervously, "what can I do for you?" My grandpa got straight to the point. "Your daughter and her friends just shaved Chloe's hair off. I want to know what you're going to do about it." Mr. Taylor paled. I had no idea." "I'm so sorry, Frank. I'll deal with Brittany immediately." As he turned to go inside, my grandpa stopped him. "And John? Remember our lease agreement? The one that says any member of your household causing harm to a member of my family can result in termination of the lease?" Mr. Taylor's face went white. "Frank, you can't mean that. This is our home, our livelihood." "I mean exactly that," my grandpa said firmly. "Your daughter will apologize to Chloe, and she will do it publicly at the fall festival tomorrow, and you will figure out how to make this right." The next day at the fall festival, I was terrified to show my face. I'd worn a hat to cover my embarrassing haircut, but I still felt like everyone was staring at me. When it was time for the livestock competition, I led Wilbur into the show ring with my head held high, trying to ignore the whispers and pointing. To my surprise, when the announcer called my name as the winner, the crowd erupted in applause. After the ceremony, Brittany approached me, her father right behind her. "Chloe," she said, her voice trembling, "I'm so sorry for what I did. It was cruel and thoughtless, and there's no excuse for my behavior." I looked at her, then at her father, who looked like he might be sick with worry. "I accept your apology," I said quietly, "but I want you to know something." I took a deep breath. "My family owns the land your family works on. We own 3 other farms in this area, too. My grandpa has every right to kick your family off the land that's been your home for 15 years. Brittany's eyes widened in shock. I didn't know." "I know you didn't," I continued. "And that's the problem. You judged me without knowing anything about me. You made fun of my boots and my jacket, but those things represent hard work and tradition, values that should matter in a community like ours." I paused, looking around at the small crowd that had gathered to listen. "My grandpa has decided not to terminate your family's lease," I said, "but things need to change. Starting now, over the next few weeks, something unexpected happened. Brittany started showing up at our farm, asking to help with chores. At first I was suspicious, but she seemed genuine. She learned how to milk cows, feed chickens, and even helped with the harvest. At school, the bullying stopped completely. In fact, other students started approaching me, asking about farm life and FFA. Brittany and her friends became unlikely allies. standing up for me when anyone tried to make fun of my farm girl ways. By the time homecoming rolled around, I had enough confidence to attend without a hat to cover my hair, which had started to grow back in soft spikes. To my surprise, I was nominated for homecoming court, not as a joke, but because people had started to see me for who I really was. When they called my name as homecoming queen, I almost didn't believe it. As I stood on the football field wearing my crown and a dress that still had traces of hay on the hem, I looked out at the crowd and saw Brittany smiling and cheering louder than anyone. After the dance, Brittany found me in the bathroom fixing my tiara. "You know," she said, "I used to think being popular was the most important thing in the world. But I was wrong. Being a good person, that's what matters." I smiled at her reflection in the mirror. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. The next day I started a new club at school, Agriculture Appreciation Club, to help students understand where their food comes from and the hard work that goes into farming. To my surprise, Brittany was the first to sign up. Looking back, getting my hair shaved off was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life. But it also taught me something important. Strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and realizing that sometimes the things that make you different are the things that make you powerful. If you're being bullied right now, remember this: you have value, you have strength, and you have a voice. Don't let anyone silence you or make you feel small. Your differences aren't weaknesses, they're your superpowers. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of people who believe in lifting each other up. Together we can make sure everyone's story is heard. Remember, you're stronger than any bully, and your story matters.